We are looking at the daily chart of XRP and the daily close just came in. And this kind of gives us an important idea that this candle, which just closed, shows us that there can be volatility today, but the last candle leans more towards a bullish reversal. Candlestick pattern here give us an idea, which shows you more or less whenever you get this pattern at the bottom of a downtrend or somewhere close to a support region, that means it now become a base. And that is what we have watched here. The daily close just came in. Now we are watching other areas too. We do have to see whether the open interest in XRP kind of matches this idea, right? We are watching the price action showing you a long wick to the downside. When it is going through a support level, that means buyers are getting attracted to buy this. But we do have to watch the open interest moving higher. We want to see that it is able to climb back in to these levels, which historically speaking, we have pumped. So back in the days when we were in this region, the price action was close to 1.2, 1.3 range and then the $2 mark. So now the question is, what are we doing? And what's the most likely outcome? Because Bitcoin is an important factor here. And while we look at the market, we do have to understand, okay, what if Bitcoin is dropping? Can that bring the entire alt to the downside? That's a possibility, but we do have to see where the money is moving. If we do break from this channel, now that channel trendline support has been valid from a long period of time, so there is a higher probability we may bounce off. But looking at the trend, it feels like we do have some pressure building to the downside. And if we break that, that can be positive for altcoins. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. When we look at all this, it's really interesting to see how things are evolving, especially when we look at how much money is interested in XRP, and the level of 600 million has been an interesting one. Now, before we jump into that, I would like to thank all of you guys who have been obliterating the like button. Like we were saying, okay, let's look for a 500 likes, and right now the last video is already at 700 likes, just about that. So if you can hit that like button, let's match that, right? So as we go, we're looking at the short-term price action of XRP, which we would like to go in detail. We would actually like to see what the price action is doing, because we just saw that a short-term trend, a channel, which is a corrective one, just broke to the upside. We were following that, right? When we were bouncing from here, when we were testing that resistance, I was updating you guys in the group. Watch out for this particular region. And right now we are watching, okay, we broke back to the upside. But what's the key point here? Are we about to fake out? Are we about to come back into this trading range? That is going to be an important concern here for me. Because if we come back here, hit that level, and then bounce off, that is a positive signal from the market. Because now that is open to the idea that, yeah, we are going to test the next level. But what would be that range which should act as a heavy resistance? The previous resistance was at this level, which then turned into a support. And if you extend that, you watch that, okay, in that region, market do respect the supply and demand equation. So if we are to bounce, we need to first see a break of the level 0.73, 0.735 range. If we do manage to break above this range after a little bit of, retest in this region, maybe a couple of hours of slowed down and a bounce, that is interesting. That is positive, because now the door is open. Yeah, for sure. You're going to see a little bit of consolidation in this range, and then the price action take off towards the higher level. Now that's a short-term chart. So don't get negative thinking, okay, levels we are talking, it's not big enough. Yeah, for sure. But understand that the macro scenario is different right now. When you actually see things like this, it actually interests a lot of people, because this actually was back in 2022, and now the market is getting to know about this. People are looking more and more into these kind of items, which means a lot of new money is coming into crypto. And at that time, I saw something really interesting in the Twitter. Now, X, right? So it actually illustrates the fact that, watch this. If you think the market is super bullish, very bullish, that means the price action is about to consolidate in this region and then break to the upside. Say we are still bullish, but we do see some corrective action where the price action can actually go into, say, a higher demand structure. So this is the higher time frame he's actually showing, like, okay, this range is going to bring a lot of demand. Great. Now, do we actually have a possibility where we can break to the upside, where bears are short? Yeah, that's also possible. The market does not deny that as a factor because we are in this region. And if we see the price action doing a fake out, that would be really interesting, because keep your eyes really close on this range. This region is interesting. If the price action can come back up, retest this and go up, that's bullish. But what does it actually look like? That's the interesting part. The price action side of things doesn't actually match that equation. If it's me looking at the price action, I would say, okay, watch this. We actually got one candle, a bearish one, going through a huge level. Then there was a tight fight between the bulls and the bears, but eventually bears won that match. They reached that support. And bulls were really trying to hold on to that particular level for some time. They were fighting. Eventually what happens? Bears won. So I would actually say, like, okay, I would look for the levels below that which can act as a strong support resistance zone. Now, 28,100 is one of them. And just above that, we have some micro levels where some would be attracted to buy, is close to 28,500. But then if you actually look at the trend line and say, okay, there is a bigger possibility here. We are watching that the price action is moving in this trend. So this breakout, what if this is going to retest this range? That's 26,000. Now, yes, unlike the macro, we're not talking about the 20,000 anymore, right? Are we? We're not. Why? Because this is the trend line we are watching. This trend line has a higher probability because that's a higher time frame structure. That's a higher time frame narrative showing you the fact that, okay, Bitcoin can drop, but do you really think it's about to break this level and come back down to 10,000, 15,000? I doubt that. Because if it's me, I would actually put the perspective like, okay, Bitcoin is actually running higher and we are searching to see where the higher time frame structure trend line is. So when we look at the price action, yeah, there is a lot of noise in the market. It becomes a little bit harder. So we go on to a line chart and see like, okay, there is a higher probability that this range is going to act as a resistance, but that's much higher. Now we are close to the support region. So the support here is just below 28,000, say 27,700 to 27,500 region is going to be a strong support range, which actually means the market is super bullish. I mean, there is no doubt in that factor. Even if we see a little bit of downside, short term, yeah, we are looking for corrective legs. So don't go leverage in with some of the buys because the market can wick lower and create some level of panic. Now, take that equation to XRP and ask the same question. What would the price action look like when Bitcoin is doing that? Say, in that stage, I would actually use indicators and say like, okay, what's the MACD doing? What's the RSI doing? Because if the MACD is suggesting me that I'm breaking to the downside and I'm going for a correction, and then I'm watching a price action here, which is bullish, now there is some level of confusion, but after staying in the market for so long, what I've seen repeatedly again and again is that the whales come here when it's crossing to the downside, signaling that I'm about to break higher, right? So for the confirmation, we would need to see the price action breaking through 0.715 range, because that happens to be the previous level of support. The daily closes here. If we break above that, yeah, bulls are becoming stronger. However, right now you're not. You're below that level, so you're still looking for a corrective leg to the downside. Yes, the MACD crossed to the downside, it's showing you the right thing, but the price action shows you that I can go back up. So it's a tight range for you to keep your eyes focused on. If we break 0.7135, that means, okay, bulls are more and more interested in the levels of 0.8. And that is where the open interest becomes really, really important. We're not actually watching the interest dropping. That is still staying there. Now, why is that so important? I would say it's super important because that's the area where the market reacts. If we see a break lower, yeah, thing actually shifts, right? You're watching this. The price action, if it's actually staying here, that's super bullish, which means you're looking at the $670 million mark. Right now, you're close to 700 million. Now, remember, you zoom out a year, two, and then you understand that that range was never broken. 650 million was the max we have seen before the run up in the last wave cycle. So when we actually see the wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and then the wave 3, we watch that how price action was moving. One of the most important thing I would say is in the macro wave 1, when we break it down into 3 microstructures, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, look at where the volume was in wave 3. That's where the FOMO came in, and it was the time to take the profits. Look at where we are right now when we are just starting off. This is super important in my humble opinion. Why? Before that run-up started, when you were in an accumulation region, the open interest in XRP was 144 million. And then you actually had a pop towards 360. That's actually a big pop there. But what's more important? You stayed above that region of 140 range and then went all the way up to 1.4, 1.5 billion. But the break of 500, 600 million range was the critical one last time. And that was only reached when we were closing into the top. Now things are different. You're watching that region being active when the price action is at this range. So for me, that means something massive is coming. Meaning if this was the start last time of 200 million and we are right now starting at 700 million, that's 3 times what we saw last time. If that's true, that means we would most likely have 2 to 3 times more ROI structure than last time. Last time we did an 18x. So put that into perspective, right? We're going to do a 50, 60x. That's big. Because if you actually consider where we are starting at, we are literally saying, say the breakout was close to 0.5. Let's not take 0.9. Let's take 0.5. Let's stay conservative. That means a 25x from here is $20. It's $15 range. And if you actually put that perspective saying, okay, we are watching for 50x. That means you're looking for $25 in XRP when it's actually peaking. Now, will that stay relevant each and every move? We really don't know because the market actually is weird. The market shows you the volume, the structure, where the money flow is. Why is that important? Because when you actually see some of these assets, there is confusion, right? Look at this. In a month, it has only done 25%. But in a week, it has done 28%. That's something different. And especially if you look at this, in a day, it has done 19%. Why is that so important? Because if you are watching at that particular asset, you need to know, okay, it's down massively for the year, for the month, but it's about to run higher this week. That's what we shared here. I was actually giving you like, okay, the trend is to the downside, so the retracement is going to be to the upside. And what was the range highlighted here? The top region was 2697, 0.002697. Where is the price right now? So it kind of gives you an understanding that the language of technical analysis does give you an edge in the market to know where the price action is going. Now, yeah, you analyze how the price action reacts at that range. So you get the idea whether you're about to take off from that level or get rejected. So that's what we are doing in the group here. So if you are interested in things like that, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So back to the price action, guys. Keep this in mind. Bitcoin still has room to the downside. Close to 27,800 is where we can say, wow, that's a range of support. If not, we should see some level of magic pushing the price back up about 29,500. If that happens, okay, it's cool, it's great. Now, guys, I really want to highlight one factor back. Keep that like button popping. Smash it. If you forgot that till this point, pop it for me. That's it for today, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.